My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And Jessie is not with us this week. She's still on a big work project, so she'll be back soon. But it's just the three of us. And we were like, what can we do for an episode with just the three of us? And so I was like, hey, you should all watch stuff I like, and then we can talk about it. And they were like, you know what? We ain't got anything better going on. So let's do that. So that's what we did. And it's very exciting. So I need to preface what we're going to talk about. I will say, don't worry, Sky. I know you get very stressed when I don't immediately go into what we're talking about. You say, can we say the title? I'm getting there.
Well, I've learned now that the title is actually on the episode. So I'm really
it's true. It is also on the episode title.
Because I should have thought about that when I used to be very concerned.
People would click the title before they came in. So when you're in Thailand watching Thai BLs, they're all seem to be based on novels, okay? But when you're in Korea, they all seem to be based on webtoons. So I was like, hey, there were recently, in like the past 3 to 4 months, 3 separate, I'm gonna say they're office-based. They're all technically office romance dramas. You can call them that. That came out in Korea, short form dramas, very very short form in some case, a little too short form in my opinion on some of them. And they are all based on webtoons, and I watched them all, and I was like, hey, we could talk about that. And then the ladies were like, hell yeah, why not?
So have you read the webtoons of all of them? Because I know that you've read.
I've read. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull a Sky. Before we say what the webtoons are, the 3 dramas are The Director Who Buys Me Dinner, My Assistant, and The New Employee. I started the webtoon for The Director Who Buys Me Dinner, and I've read in entirety Oh My Assistant and The New Employee. So I have read the webtoons for 2 out of 3. Let me warn you. Okay, so these are all fairly innocent. I say this in terms of it's not, you're not going to be, this isn't Love in the Air, okay? Like, you're not going to be seeing some, like, racy scenes in these, okay? Mm-hmm. You're not. They're Korean BL, they're not there yet. They're really not there yet. However, if you're, like, cool with that, and that's like, you're like, yes, good, I don't need any of the spicy stuff. You don't need to read the webtoons. I'm just gonna like open the floor with that
for you.
By telling you that the webtoons don't fade to black and then wake up the next day. No, they're not that. They're just, it's usually one beefy dude and, well, Oh My Assistant doesn't have any beefy dudes, but you get me. One beefy dude, one less beefy dude. You know how it is.
You know how it goes.
You know how it goes. So they're a little more risque than the shows that are produced, which I will never not find funny. I will not find it funny.
Found it humorous watching Oh My Assistant, or that's what it's called, right? My Assistant. Yeah, that it's about drawing X-rated cartoons,
and you see
or
nothing,
or
and it's the most PG.
It had the worst kissing, like it had that pancake kiss,
well,
and I was like,
get into that because I do have a theory as to why. But so the 3 shows. So The Director Who Buys Me Dinner, so is a fantasy. A fantasy drama, I could think we can say, fantasy office drama, where a guy thinks he's joining the event planning team at this entertainment agency, but oh no, he's actually the CEO's new secretary, and then the CEO's like, I've been waiting for you for hundreds of years, because I've been alive for hundreds of years, and we have to spend all of our time together or we'll die. And he's like, you're crazy. But then turns out, maybe he's not crazy.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's something.
It definitely, okay. It probably could benefit from more because there was a lot going on, and so sometimes it was like suddenly you were somewhere else and you were like, what is going on here now?
There's
like,
a lot of weird cuts.
There was just too much going on.
It also had like it also jumped to the past and had like in the past like, you know, like a Joseon, like a Saeguk section, and for like
5 minutes, like
and for a 10 episode, 15 minutes an episode, you can't really have a Saeguk section and a modern section and a murder plot
in the same
both.
episode,
and a murder plot in both, like separate murder plots.
Episodes are 15 minutes long, but there's minimum 5 minutes of recaps on like every single episode, plus the like credit roll, plus the, and you're like, there's only a 10 minutes of show. You don't need to. You don't read it.
Like I remember like, what happened 10 minutes ago. Like you don't need to do this.
But also, I thought the side, like, I found for me the most compelling character was this side character.
Yeah,
of
the idol,
anxiety
the
idol, who's like has like he's having a psychic break.
Like he's literally having a psychotic breakdown in real time on the show.
And you're like, and then it's just gone. Like the story's over, and you're like, but I want to know what happened to that kid. Like,
he's played by Jang Yu-sung. This is his only acting credit. Was this show? And he's a member of the group WOW. Okay. Was a member of Rion 5 and 10, so he's been moved around a bit. But he was easily the most compelling character, and I'm just like, how is this his only acting credit? And we're not saying that the other two weren't good, because like they were good. Like they were
fine.
They were doing what they were paid to do, you know?
He got more screen time than they did. He had
because he was so good.
He had
so good.
Like, and you're just like, how is he not the main character? Like, this should clearly be a story about him, because
the guy who played the main character of like the guy who gets hired as the assistant, Park Jong-woo, this is also his only acting credit, is this show. So it's got like and he did a good job too, as sort of the affable, confused, smiley character, you know, who then is reflected by this tsundere, like off-putting main lead. You know, that's such a classic pairing where you've got like happy, cute, sweet guy, and then like the worst dude you've ever met, who has like no redeeming qualities except that he's good looking.
I know that this is like, we're talking about these KBLs specifically, but isn't that a common like Thai pairing like character?
Yeah, but usually though, I will say this, usually like in a lot of Thai ones, the guy's not like, he has some redeeming qualities. You know what I mean? Besides being good looking, like he'll usually have like a heart of gold,
friends or something. Like, and he's really
like, sweet to his family.
Yeah, like and he's like he's really nice to dogs or something. Like he usually has something. This guy, it's like
he didn't. Sounds like he didn't have enough screen time to.
Like, it's not that he didn't have enough screen time. I just feel like there wasn't enough story time to develop everything that was going on in the drama.
He's apparently the child of a god, and that's why, like, there was a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
That sounds like very lofty concepts that should have had a little bit more time.
It was a lot of lofty concept that 10-15 minute episodes could not possibly hope to convey. Like, it just, there's absolutely no way. But it's not bad. I think I need to, like, emphasize, it's not a bad show. Like, it's not terrible.
I didn't hate watching it.
Yeah, it wasn't...
I was mad at the end. Like,
yeah. It wasn't terrible. And it's like, the show did make sense. Like, it did wrap things up very quickly, but it did. It was, you know, like, they tied up the loose ends, as you would like how they tied them up or not. That's another story altogether. But that was the most fantastical and sort of literal fantasy of the 3 dramas we watched. Then we also
Natalia and Amanda watched that.
Yeah, Amanda watched that. Yeah, Sky didn't have time. But Sky did watch the other 2. So, I may have told her, like, if there's one you don't have time for,
yeah,
you can just skip that one. It's fine. So the next one we watched was even shorter. These go from the way we ordered this is we ordered them from how much Natalia enjoyed them from least to most, but they also go from how short they are from most to least, and how realistic they are from least to most. So this one's the middle of the pack. Was Oh My Assistant. Now, before we talk about Oh My Assistant, I think it's important to know that one of the leads was recast after they had finished filming the entire show, and then literally on a dime they refilmed the entire thing.
I forgot that was this one.
Wow. So I have a lot of like forgiving nature for any sort of awkwardness that happens in the show. Just thinking like one of these main dudes came in out of nowhere and just acted his pants off. Like he was like, okay, well,
nice to meet you.
Hello, we've just met for the first time today. Now you've got to be sexually attracted to me. Let's go. So the plot of Oh My Assistant, which it is actually if you're gonna pick one of the webtoons to watch, it's the cutest webtoon. Like,
it is the cutest.
It's so cute, and it's so like I've read it a couple times because it just makes me happy.
I mean, just watching the show, I giggled so many times. I was like, oh god, they're so cute.
It's actually it's another one where it's like it's too short to encompass everything that happens in the webtoon, and they really like speed up some of the plot points a lot. But it is very close to the webtoon. I will say this in terms of the overall plot. So it's about this webtoon artist who draws sexy comics. And ever since he started drawing sexy comics, his penis don't work. His penis don't work
because it's become like work.
Yeah,
work.
like every time you think of sex, you just think of work, and then your penis is just like, this isn't exciting anymore. So he's like, well, I guess I'll never have sex again. This is my lot in life. And then he has like this incredibly she's great. This like sexually free, like very sex positive editor who's like, no, you got to make it sexier. Like we need tits everywhere. Just like, listen, that's not how you tie bondage ropes. Let me show you. Like,
in a public space, allow me to demonstrate
all of my BDSM gear. And she's like, listen, you're struggling to meet deadlines, which is because your comic is popular, and so you're doing a great job, and we think you're wonderful. But you should hire an assistant. And so he's like, in the comic, this was much more clear that he had like a dream of finally being able to have an assistant, and like how they would become best friends and like work in the studio and like, like draw late at night and like be, having drink, like just real, like he really fantasized, like I'm going to find like someone who's like really passionate about comics like me and we can be best friends. And so he ends up hiring this, I would call him extremely proper assistant who's like, yes, I'll work for you, but only from 9 to 6. I'm not going to work weekends. I'm not going to work overtime, and you have to make me lunch. And he's like, yeah, sure. We'll do that. But then this
and it was, of course, he's pretty.
Yes. Yeah. He's very pretty. Okay, he's very pretty. And very quickly, through shenanigans, if you've seen it, that Pillow was a paid actor. That's all I have to say. If you watch it, you'll know what I mean. Realizes that, wait a minute, when I'm around this guy, my penis works. Dun, dun, dun. And so then it's about a man realizing he's bisexual and fall in love with his assistant.
I thought that was really well done too.
It was
like
the
way
chillest.
I sort of thought about it and went, "Oh, huh? Have I always been bisexual? I've never been able to make up my mind about anything." So
Why
I
would
guess
I make up my mind about this? You know, it
Like-
actually, I really enjoyed the bi realization in this, because it actually shows just like this guy could have known he was bisexual for years if he wasn't living in a heteronormative society, because everything about him and all of these, you know, when he goes back through his memories of like as a teen and being like, I should have probably known, like, when all of my friends were like, ew, boys kissing boys, that's so gross. And he's like, doesn't seem that bad to me. Like, like, I'm not grossed out by it. Like, he's like, I probably should have
maybe
figured this out a little sooner.
Well, I liked how there were actually like two characters that had bi realizations. And I thought that, so even there was a secondary character that's like the main friend of the assistant guy. And he really hadn't realized until later on in the show, too. And so I thought even the way they handled that was really good, too. So
because the assistant is just gay. Like, he's just an out gay man.
Has been since, like, high school, or even early, like, as far as him being aware of that for himself. So, and his friend has been his friend since high school as well. So, like, the fact that the friend only at this point, you know, years and years later, figuring out, I am attracted to my best friend.
I may have had an ulterior motive to being friends with him this entire time that I hadn't been thinking about.
Unfortunately, it's because his fiance says, hey, I think you're in love with him, because you ain't never looked at me like that. So
it's like, you know, when I need you, you don't come running, but when he calls, suddenly he's like, well, no, I'm his only friend. She's like, likely story. Likely story. I will admit, we will probably have some spoilers, so I will, you know.
Yeah.
There's always.
At this point, we'll probably spoiler on for that.
Spoiler on from this. I think we were pretty good about Director Who Buys Me Dinner, just in case Sky wanted to watch it. But we've all seen it now, so if you haven't seen things, pause, go spend like an hour and a half watching all three of these. I'm kidding. It's a little longer than that, but like not much.
This is like, Oh My Assistant is only 8 episodes, 15 minutes each. So it is. And there is a movie format too now on Viki.
Yeah, on Viki it is in movie format, so you can just watch it all at once. Director Who Buys Me Dinner is on iQIYI, and The New Employee, which we'll talk about later, is on Viki as well. And a movie version of that is coming and will be even shorter than Oh My Assistant, much to my chagrin. But so in like what I really really liked about Oh My Assistant, besides like the bi awakening, is that for the first time, like, and a lot of these like really short form shows, they just make characters do things to like create drama. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this person will purposefully misunderstand for no reason, and it won't even make sense why they're misunderstanding, just for like the sake of drama. But I really found that like you could understand why people would misunderstand situations in this. Like, for example, the assistant, whose character name is Muyang. Muyang.
Well, so that was kind of part of the.
Yeah, this is part of the problem. So his assistant, so the main guy, Sunho, his assistant's name is Muyang, and his like editor's name is Minyoung. So so obviously the assistant, who's got the hots for like, though he's very straight faced, so you wouldn't be able to tell, like, this, as soon as he sees this comic artist, is like, oh shit, this guy is my like
he's down bad.
This is like my ideal type.
Like the night of the interview, he's drinking with his bestie, and his bestie goes, I can tell from your face that this guy has floppy hair and a big smile. He's
a
totally
bit of a himbo, like, you know, puppy dog style, and he's like, oh shut up, like, oh shut up. So like, and I like that, like, while he's at work, he's all like professional, but then like when he's out, he's like smiley and cute too. I really appreciated that about his character. But so the comic artist like takes a nap and he's talking in his sleep. And then so this assistant is like leaning over like, what's he saying? Like what's he saying? And he hears him say something that's young, and he's like, Moo Young or Min Young? Moo Young or Min Young? Who are you talking about? So because of this things, and because the editor is so sousy, shall we say.
Well, and like, you know, has been working with this comic artist for a very long time. They're also both very gregarious people, so you know, like they play off of each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can tell like he's used to her like public displays of nonsensory, and she's used to him like just being a himbo, and just literally just being dragged along because he won't tell her no. Which I think it like, and you can see like they're, you know, they have a great friendship, but that could be very easily misinterpreted as, oh, they're like secretly having an affair, right? And so you can understand why he's then like, okay, well, I got to be super proper and like not let him know. Like he doesn't like, and also there's the added like, if he knows I'm gay, like maybe he'll not be okay with that, because this is a straight, in air quotes, dude who draws straight sex comics, right? Like, but that's
no, I do think I would definitely be, if I was in that character's shoes, I would be running off the assumption that person is straight. So like,
that's true.
I have a comic
like,
artist.
Okay.
And I would think whatever X-rated version of something they're picking, you would probably be running under the assumption that that is their preference. Like, you would think
that.
He's just going where the money is.
The fact that he, as a character, the assistant, has been, you know, openly gay since high school, and has a terrible track record of every time he likes a guy, the guy is super straight. So, like, he assumes, well, I like this guy, so he must be straight because I have terrible gaydar. Like, I am
not good at picking dudes.
I think that is one of the things that I liked about it, is that, like, we see that misunderstanding a lot in Korean rom-coms, where it's like you think that they're dating this person or whatever, and they're not. But, like, in this situation, too, the idea that they both like each other, but they both assume the other one doesn't like men, so like how could this work, right? And it's like, I don't want to scare them away by telling them I like them if that would make them uncomfortable, but like they're both thinking it, and you're just like, oh my god, just like at one point the conversation is literally, I like you, well I have to quit because I like you too, and it's like, wait, did we both say we like, but they don't hear each other. Like,
but in like a conservative, like heteronormative society, it makes sense that neither of them would like have that conversation, right? Like you wouldn't just be like, by the way, I'm a homosexual. Until then, you know, cool editor is like, hey, I'm gonna bring you to this gay bar that my friend runs. Like, we have such a good time at this gay bar, and you're gonna love it. The architecture is so beautiful. You can use it like the architecture for your comics. But then who's at the gay bar? The assistant and his not yet openly bisexual bestie, who then steps in and is like, yeah, me and him are dating. Yep. That's what's happening. This isn't my own secret desires coming forth.
There was a smooch. That was how that announcement happened.
Yeah.
So
they done a smoocheroo. But like, you understand what I like about it is a lot of times you watch these dramas and you don't understand the characters' motivations, because you like look at the characters and from what you know about them, you're like, why are they doing this? Like, for example, I can think of like a real setback. Who's the one with Soji Sub and Shin Mina, where he's helping her lose weight? Oh My Venus, is that what?
Oh My Venus.
Oh My Venus, where like it's a spoiler for a very old show. Okay, they do the whole like noble idiocy where he gets in a car accident and then like leaves for rehab for a year and never texts or calls. And you're just like, but that's not what he'd do? Like, they're just, literally the writers are just doing this to create, like, angst and drama. But guess what? In 8 episodes, you ain't got time for nonsensical angst and drama.
8 tiny episodes.
Yeah, 8 15-minute episodes. You ain't got time for that. All you've got time for is just cute bisexual shenanigans. And oh, the bisexual shenanigans, they deliver. It is definitely a comedy, though. Like, and the other thing that I think is this is what I found most unrealistic about this drama. And stay with me for this. It's not this, you know, sexually open editor. It's not, you know, him realizing he's bisexual because he likes both regular and seasoned chicken. Like, it's not that. It's the fact that on several occasions, on just like the open road with people around in Korea, 2 men are gonna kiss each other? Come on. Come on. Well, that's a beautiful dream you have, show.
I have a similar bone to pick later on with the other show, too, with that. Because when I start getting nervous for characters because they are in broad daylight with that, I'm like, it's noticeable. Like,
yeah. This one, it's pretending that it's in this, like, enlightened Korean society where, like, you can be openly gay. Like, maybe you'll be bullied a little in high school, but by the time you're an adult, no one will care anymore. That's not really, unfortunately, true. I feel like the comic did a little bit better job. That also, there was a whole other plot line in the comic involving the assistant's grandmother that, like, never made, like, there wasn't enough time. I get it.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough time to put it in the show. That was actually, like, really good and more highlights the reality of perhaps. Because
that was one of the things that I think maybe even all 3 of these, no, maybe not the third one, but, you know, they had these scenes of, like, confessing to somebody who, you know, in high school or whatever, and it was always like, ew, no, but it wasn't like, ew, no, and now I beat you to a pulp. Like, which is,
you know, and now you're bullied.
What you expect from K-dramas, because the bullying that we see in K-dramas is so excessive.
Well, like, the thing about it was, so in this story specifically, in the comic, you find out that he was raised by his grandmother, who's like the CEO of the giant kimchi company. So the school that he went to was like a private school for rich kids. And so the more rich you were, the less likely you were to get bullied no matter what you did, because it was like, you know, a
you
hierarchy.
had power.
Yeah. But he didn't care, despite the fact that his grandmother was hella rich. So he was like, he should have been like in the upper echelons. Everyone hated him, but couldn't do anything to him because like they would try to like be mean to him, and he'd just be like, I don't care. Like, and they'd be like, well, you're gay. And he's like, yeah. What are you going to do about it? Like, what? What of it? What are you going to do? Which is what made the guy who becomes his best friend like him so much. Because he's like, this guy legitimately does what everyone wishes they could do, which is just not care what people in high society think of them.
And you could tell that friend, like, wanted to be more like him, like, wanted to be more like his new friend or whatever. Like, he wanted to become more like that, so that was kind of an aspect.
Yeah, there was, like, a lot more about in the comic, obviously, because the comic is it's not super long, but it's much longer than 8 15-minute episodes on TV, let's just say, where you find out it's, like, about his family and his, like, the fact that he's, like, you know, like, groomed to, like, take over the family company, and, like, his fiance was, like, an arranged marriage, like, type situation.
They kind of, like, they did a pretty good job of conveying a lot of that. I thought in a very quick, like, one conversation, but you were like, okay, I kind of see where this
you could tell he had money.
Like, just from how he was dressed and how he talked and how he acted, you can tell, like,
and his car.
This is a chaebol. Like, this is a rich guy who's probably from old money. Like that's, and I think they conveyed that really well, who's like, you know, he's and he was very, in the comic, much more so than the show, like very disdainful of people. And like he had very little patience for other people because he thought he was the smartest person in the room, and he thought that he was always right, and he thought that he always knew best, like better than everyone else, and the only person who didn't put up with his shit or listen to him was his best friend, who you can tell that he actually like really wished he could be like. So it was a lot more nuanced, shall we say, which then also, because of that, the plot that they really condensed into a short period of time, where in the comic so the guy gets in an accident and he breaks his leg, and then makes his best friend like take care of him, and like every time his best friend's about to go on a date with with his new boyfriend, because they finally admitted they love each other, he gets a phone call and he runs off. In the course of the show, that takes place over like a week.
Yeah, you can kind of tell, like,
in the comic it was like 6 months. Like it was
big. Yeah.
He was in a much worse accident in the comic.
And they really should have handled that. Like, I know they didn't have the time, but they should have like done a, one scene here, next scene it should have been 3 months later. Like they should have conveyed the passing of time, because I would say, for me, the most frustrating aspect of this show that I'm really not picking on, like it did a good job, but this was the most frustrating aspect of the show was like the dude just broke his leg. What the crap? Like, why does he need all this assistance?
Yeah.
Like, and he obviously had money, so like that made zero sense to me. But B, because the show wasn't able to show that passing of time, the reactions, like all of the there was obvious huge annoyance and frustration and hurt from the new, the comic creator, new boyfriend, and all this. Like, there was a lot of emotion there, which didn't feel justified because the passage of time wasn't shown correctly, in my opinion, because it felt like a few days in the show.
Yeah, it felt like a week, right? It felt like it was like maybe a week, where it's like you wouldn't be that annoyed at this point.
Like, how are you demanding that your brand new boyfriend of like 3 days gives up his best friend? Like, yes, obviously that person has priority over you. You're watching it and you're thinking, like, the artist almost comes across like he's being the jerk, right? Because he's like, how dare you choose your friend over me? But like, as far as we're concerned, it's been less than a week that they've been dating.
Right. Like there was an ultimatum, and I was so hacked. I was
know.
So
it's
mad.
Like, where did that come from?
And it's like contrasting, or if you've read the comic, where it takes place over like 6 months, because this accident was far worse in the comic. Like the guy had to relearn how to walk type situation.
See, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and so like, and it was like they were planning on like moving in together and stuff, and like every time they would be doing something for a week, you'd be like, okay, for 6 months though, I feel like I'd be getting a little tired of the shenanigans as well. You know what I mean? And it was very...
like, even if it was a worse accident and stuff, like, that makes complete more sense, though.
I think they also made it kind of obvious in the show that the best friend knew what he was doing was manipulative, and, like, that he didn't actually need any help.
Well, I mean, it felt like that in the show because it really was obviously, like, they made it... He has a caregiver. He has his own family still. Yeah. And yet he's calling you, and all he did was break his foot. Like... Yeah. Okay.
Whereas when you're facing, like, in the comic, when you're facing, like, you may never walk again, that's
right.
That's
that is
a
different.
little more severe. That's like a little more understandable at the beginning.
I feel like maybe what, if the KBLs are going to keep on adapting, like, webtoons and stuff into these, what they maybe need to do is hope for second seasons and not try to pack 3 years worth of webtoons into an hour and a half of a movie. Like, just tell the story, tell the initial story about these two guys, all the nonsense that it takes for them to get together, and then
you're good.
Now they're together, and then we're good. Like, and then if you want to bring in a second season and deal with this weird, love triangle thing, then do that. But like, you don't have enough time to tell that story, so don't.
And
Don't
it
try.
really was like one.
It was
like
one
and a half
episode. It was
episodes.
one episode.
Or maybe one.
I have another suggestion, like tagging onto this. We could avoid all of that by just giving them a full-length show.
By making it longer.
Like,
yes,
if this was 8-hour-long episodes, you could have had all the time in the world to tell. You could have included the grandma. You could have had all the time in the world.
Even if it were, like, light on me, like, half-hour episodes. Like, you know, like, okay. You could probably tell the story you wanted to tell.
Like, you could tell you could do it. Like, we'll watch it. Listen, people will watch it. Don't worry. Like, you'll get the return on investment.
So I will say, I really did like the actor that played the friend. Like, I thought he did a really good job.
He was excellent.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't think he's done much.
He's done a little.
Yeah.
Like support role stuff.
Like guest roles and stuff, yeah.
He has a face that looks like it would work in Sagooks. Like
he does, doesn't he?
Right? He looks like a Sagook
Well, he was in Love in Spring, which is a Sagook BL last year.
All right.
And then pretty much support otherwise. But I bet we'll see more of him. He looks like he's gonna be in stuff. That's
And then we go to the most realistic of the three. I love this show.
Have you already rewatched it a few times?
Yes.
I thought you
Yes,
did.
I have. And also, it doesn't take that long to rewatch it because it's 7 15-minute episodes. And that is a crime, okay? So this one is like the closest to what I would call like a slice of life in the sense that you could see this being a real story of two people. Like,
well, to me, it's like it's office romance, not really rom-com as much.
Like, it's not com, but it is rom. You got the rom in there.
I mean, there is a little bit of com, but it's really just not as much of that. It is more focused on the work aspect.
Yeah. So it's the new employee, also, as all of these are, based on a webcomic. I would say, despite the fact that the other one was about a guy who draws sexy comics, this one's the spicy one. Shall we say.
It definitely had better kissing.
Well, no, I mean in terms of the comic.
The comics? Yeah.
The comic gets hog wild for long stretches of time where you're just like, okay, we get it. Like, okay, you're getting the viewers in. We understand. But I think this one actually worked not having spicy stuff in it. Like, I thought that was perfect for it.
Yeah.
So you follow this guy who's a lifelong solo who didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, so he just kept going to school. And now he's almost 30. He's a virgin. He's never had a job. And so he has to apply to be an intern. And so he applies to be an intern at the company that his best friend works at. His best friend, who's an incredibly funny lesbian, who they met at the gay club.
So, like, do they say that in the comic that she's a lesbian?
Yeah, it's very clear, like, because they meet at, like, this college gay club, and she's like, "Hi, I'm a lesbian. You're gay. We love
because like in the show they never said. It was just like she was in the club. It's like, okay, she's there.
She's in the club, and then you kind of get the sense that she is from the time that, like, they all go out drinking, and the director's like, "So are you two dating?" And they're like, "No, that did not ever happen." Like, and you're like, "Okay, I'm connecting the dots here. They met at the gay club, and they could never
rainbow
date.
rice cakes.
Rainbow rice cakes. Which was she in the comic, she came up with that name, and he thought it was slightly embarrassing. But in the show, it's just endearingly cute.
It's so cute.
So he goes to his first day of work as an intern at this advertising company, and the only person there is his very tsundere mid to late 30s boss, who is very focused on his work, and he's the best guy in the company at getting clients, at making ads, at retaining clients, and making this company money. And so they've been trying to make him, take a promotion, but he doesn't want it. He likes what he's doing. He doesn't want your promotion. And so other people in the company are getting increasingly frustrated at his unwillingness to play into corporate culture. And oh no.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I hate that. Nothing to do with this show, but like just that whole premise that like if you're good at your job, you should do a different job.
It doesn't make any sense, but I was rewatching this sitting next to my husband, who does work for a company, unlike myself, and I've never worked in an office. And while my husband no longer works in an office because he works from home, he used to work in an office. So I was like, hey, so there'll be all these scenes of just like what I call office petty shenanigans, where people are just being petty and gossiping and picking on each other. And I'm like, honey, is it like this in an office? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, absolutely. He's like 100%. Like this, yeah, that's it. And
yeah, I've worked in offices, and that was very much my
experience as well.
But also, I will preface this by I'm not cursing every single marketing employee in the world, but like it was the marketing team in this show that was the problem, and I've had some experiences.
Oh, were they also like that?
I said, because my husband was watching it with me, and I was like, marketing team, it's always the
marketing team. They party hard and they pick on people.
Well, because, and I think, and actually, it's kind of a trope even within K-dramas and stuff. Marketing team is typically sales. It's sales and marketing. Like sales because they got to be charismatic and they kind of know how to manipulate in order to get the sale. Like it is, you kind of have the car salesman thing going on. Like you have,
Whereas like this boss runs sort of the creative team, who like physically comes up with the concepts for ads for clients that the company already has. And it's the whole show, like the show doesn't really so much have a super specific plot. It's mostly just an intern trying to get a permanent position and his boss trying to get the intern in a non-creepy way. I also need to point out, it's not like one of those like, oh, boss taking advantage of his position, like blah 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 blah. Like that's not the vibe of the show.
No.
Whatsoever.
I mean, especially like the kid, the new employee sits down and his very first thought is, wow, my boss is really good looking. Like he is immediately on board. Like,
and literally, so what happens, like when he's walking into the office and while he's having this thought, his boss is talking on the phone, complaining about the fact that he wanted budget to hire a new actual employee, but they just gave him an intern, and what good is an intern gonna do him? And interns are essentially useless. And then he's like, hi, I'm the new intern, and the boss is like, well,
but he doesn't make it awkward because he's a very like collected
Business,
person, so he just goes on. Like he wasn't like, my bad. He never
he's
said
just like, well,
anything
here's your desk, and then there's this lovely awkward moment where he's the only one in the office, and the intern's just sitting there like, just looking around, and then with like you can internal sigh, the boss picks up the phone and is like, hi, is this the IT department? When's my intern getting a computer so he can like do stuff? Like, and so you're presented with this guy who's very business oriented and he's very focused on his work, and you very quickly find out that he's openly gay to his friends, not in the office because that's no one's business at the office. It's no one's business. But every single one of his previous partners had left him because they didn't understand how much he loved working and how he genuinely liked spending most of his time doing work.
He made it his priority.
Yeah. And then you meet cute little Bean, smiley, sweet,
such a puppy
intern who is fascinated by advertising and you can, as the boss says, you can see a sparkle in your eye when he's talking about work, and he seems to like understand him. What I found really realistic about this was you have sort of the struggles of someone who's never dated before falling in love with someone who's had a lot of dating experience and has forgotten like how it feels to be with your first ever partner, and everything is taken personally, right? And so I just liked it so much. And just coming to understand each other better and falling in love just naturally. And
there was a tiff, a misunderstanding tiff thing. And what I really like about the boss character is he really did try to kind of empathize and be like, he even talked to his cat about, yeah, the cat was cute, but he talked to the cat like about, I know I should probably be more understanding because this is his first. So like he's very aware of that dynamic being a thing. But what ended up happening was when he finally was able to talk to his boyfriend again about it, he was like, I know I should say that I understand how you feel about this situation, but honestly, and I'm not going to lie to you, I do not understand where you're coming from with this. But in the future, I will try to understand more, and we will try to kind of be more on the same page. Like, we will try to work on it and get there to be more understanding of each other. And I really enjoyed the admission of, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I get why you're having, like, a huge emotional reaction to this, because I literally do not understand. So, and he wasn't telling him, get over it, either. So, I mean, there was a lot of layers to this very simple, he's a man of few words, and so there's a lot of layers to it, though, where I was like, there's a lot of respect there, but he also wasn't going to lie and just, like, sweep something under the rug, which, that's another aspect of their relationship, like, later on, I think near the very end, I think he said, communication is key. They were talking about their relationship dynamics, and he was like, communication is key. And Eric my husband, he just died
all
laughing. I say that all the time. Like, that is my thing. So whenever communication breaks down, I'm like, communication can't break down. That's what relationships are. It's communication. Like, that's what the whole thing is. So, like, he just thought that was so funny that they, like, overtly said it.
And I think, like, that was, like you said, that scene where they talked it through afterwards was good, but the initial scene where he's like explaining why he freaked out, like the new employee is sort of he left, and because he was kind of emotional and upset and whatever, and the boss with all of his experience is like, okay, well, sort yourself out, like I don't, this is not for me, I'm not into this emotional stuff, you get yourself sorted out and let me know where we stand, kind of thing. And then afterwards, like, he's talking to the cat, and he's like, am I the asshole? I am the asshole.
I'm the daddy in this situation.
Like, it was very, like, I was, like, we were watching it on the Discord there, and it was like, I said to Natalia, like, this was a very am I the asshole moment. Like, you could see somebody writing this tonight, but, like, he's so self-aware that, like, almost you could see him typing it out to put on Reddit, and as he's typing, going, no, I'm the asshole.
Yeah, it was me.
No, delete. I should go have a conversation now. Like, yeah.
But also what I really appreciate about it was the type of emotional reaction to that. It was all very realistic. Like, and even one of the partners never getting it and being like, I literally don't get it. And it doesn't have to be the thing that ends your relationship if you don't finally come to the exact same emotional understanding about something. You can go from there as long as you work on it. And so they really, without having too many lines about it and giving all of that really too much screen time as far as the resolution of that and then further discussion about relationship dynamics later on, they don't talk a lot, but the things that they say convey enough, like, communication is key. Like, they really hammered it home. And as for showing that in a gay couple, 1,000 points. Like, thank you.
And also, the most, like, just absolutely functional gay, like, relationship that I've seen in a K-drama in a long time was these two, where he's just like, there's like, yeah, we just want to communicate and we want to be on the same page and we want to, like, have a healthy, loving relationship. Is that a crime?
And it's nice to see a thing where it's like, okay, we had a disagreement or a misunderstanding, but that didn't turn into a 3 weeks apart or it's like the next day, okay, and now let's keep talking about it. Let's get this stuff sorted. Like it which is more normal. Like most people don't just go off and not talk for 3 weeks because they had a misunderstanding. They try to work it out if they like each other.
Yeah.
If I dated somebody for a week and they bailed for a month and then tried to come back, I'd be like, no.
I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? We broke up. Like, I know we didn't, like, say, like, I'm breaking up with you, but I just assumed that
if the time apart is longer than the time together, then I assume that we were never really all that close to begin with, so...
The other thing I like about this is I find, like, in a lot of, and this isn't just, like, you know, these gay shows or whatever, in these office dramas, a lot of the times you're presented with, like, the boss character. So, like, in a lot of K-dramas, his character would be, like, really mean for no reason, like, everyone would be scared of him, he'd be rude to his employees, but, like, demanding all this. But you can tell that while they think he works too much, like, all of his employees are like, oh yeah, he's always working. Like, and he expects us to work hard. He doesn't make people stay overtime. Like, there's several times where he's like, you don't have to stay. Like, you can go home if you're done your work. Like, why are you still here? He seems to care about the well-being of his employees. He doesn't hold them up to standards that he himself is not willing to hold. And if someone has a good idea, he doesn't shut them down or steal it.
Right?
Or, he doesn't take the credit for it. So even though he actually said, like, that's a weakness of our company, your idea will probably be ascribed either to me or to my boss. And that's just kind of the way it goes. And then when push came to shove, he made sure to highlight the fact that this idea came from this intern. And everyone needs to know that. And you can tell it wasn't because it was his boyfriend. Like, that was not the point.
And that he would have done that for anyone who had come up with, you know.
Well, and, I mean, even just right off the bat, the female intern is, like, she's giving him sort of the orientation. She's like, you're kind of really lucky because you're working under, like, the best guy in the company. And he's the best because he's the best. Like, he's really good. And he's going to want you to be on top of things, and he's gonna want things done the way he wants them, but, like, the way he wants them done are the right way, and you'll learn a lot. Like, you should be really happy with that. And that was always it. Like,
and you very quickly learn that, like, he's the best at also being a boss when compared to the heads of other departments who will, you know, sort of, like, shuffle off work to people whose job it wasn't to do them. They'll, you know, pressure the new employees to drink with them. They'll, you know, steal their ideas. They'll tell, you know, just be very rude, and because they're higher in the hierarchy. And so, and he not because it's his boyfriend, but I would imagine he would do it for anyone in this company. He goes, you can't treat my team like this. You shouldn't treat anyone like this, but especially you can't treat my team like this. Like, if, like, there was one scene where they're going to a meeting where the intern has just come up with this great idea for, like, a marketing plan, because the marketing plan that they had for this credit card or whatever was just so boring. And then he was like, yeah, like, millennials and Gen Z aren't gonna like this. Like, this is what they should do instead. And so it's like, you're coming to the meeting with me. And then as soon as he gets there, another guy on a different team is like, hey, I forgot the charger for my laptop. Can you go, like, intern, go get it? And so he immediately jumps up to go get it. And the boss character, like, grabs him and is like, no. Sit down. You don't have to do anything, he says. If he forgot his charger, he can go get it himself. Because you're not his servant. You work for planning team 1. Like, you don't work for the marketing department. And they've been doing that. And then the boss of the marketing department goes, he's like, hey, are you aware that your team has been overstepping their bounds? Like, I was unaware that you didn't tell them that if you had all this work you needed to do, you could get your own intern. Just put this out there.
And the thing was, like, anytime he did this, it was always just matter of fact. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't for extra drama in the show. Yeah. It wasn't hyper emotional, or even he wasn't being a jerk. He was just being like, he was trying to draw boundaries for his employee. And again, it wasn't because of his.
So they weren't even dating then. They weren't dating then. Like they were.
And
then,
just like employees. The first time something happened, and he's very clearly says to him, and this is before any hanky panky, no, and he's like, no, if they try to do that again, I understand that as the intern, it's going to be difficult for you to say no. So you tell them to email it to you and to CC me on everything they email. And then they won't, and you're
they
like,
won't ever do it. They won't have the balls to do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and that, I actually, out loud, I was like, yes, OACC the boss, because that's
good practice.
I kind of want all new employees to watch this show for just those little tidbits. Like, I swear.
Yeah.
Because it really, if someone's making a weird request of you, of any sort, okay, can you please send that to me in an email, paper trail, and CC my boss. And even if even if that person doesn't CC your boss, shoot it to your boss.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because your boss is your boss. The other people in the company are not your boss. So like.
And then I thought that it was like really it was succinctly done, because as we said, it was 7 15-minute episodes, which is an actual crime. That you can tell that the other people at his level, like at the boss's level in this company, hate that he's like this. And you can tell, like, they're constantly gossiping about what a pain in the ass he is, and how they wish, like, he would, because he makes them look bad. He, everyone wants to be on his team, because sure, they have to work really hard, but at least you have a boss that respects you as a person. You know what I mean? And and he never seems to like hold mistakes against people for, and it's just, he seems like a good dude who's just sort of a bit of a tsundere, like one of my favorite types, But then as soon as he goes into boyfriend mode.
Oh my.
Oh. Sir. He's just the sweetest boyfriend you've ever seen. And you're just like, oh, where were you hiding all of this romance? Like, ooh.
In his outfit that he bought right off the mannequin in the department store.
That's right. Because he's like, I'm terrible at fashion. This like, what's one big secret about me? I don't know how to dress myself, so I just buy whatever's on the mannequin.
Which all of his outfits looked good, so legit, like, that's fine.
Yeah. It's like he wasn't wearing like a perfectly tailored suit. He was just in fucking sweatpants. Like, those were his two vibes. But like hiring out the entire restaurant for their first date? Sir. Like, excuse me?
He was having CEO vibes without being CEO. Like
you can tell he was wealthy. Like, you can tell that like he's so good at his job that he's remunerated very well. He probably gets many a bonus, because most of the, they said like 50% of the revenue of the company is brought in by him and retained by him, which I think does happen at a lot of these sorts of like companies, is that one person would be like very instrumental to and other people would be very annoyed by that. So I found like that was like a really realistic, and him not wanting to play any of these corporate games.
And then how the people that were playing the games behind his back would be like, we can't trust him because he is pretty much in such this influential position. You can't, he could just leave and just totally leave us all holding the bag, blah, 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 blah. It's like, whereas the dude's not doing anything wrong. You're just scared. You're just scared that he's so good. But
you just wish you were him.
But also it gives a little look into, without really going too far in it, how hard it is for interns, even specifically the other intern who is not even assigned to a specific team. So that's already difficult for her.
Yeah.
She is only a high school graduate. And like, that's very difficult to eventually land that job. So when open recruitment comes out and they really try for these jobs, and when they don't land them, of course that's devastating. But then I really appreciated how not like it wasn't like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and we're gonna get that job back. It was like, we're gonna do a project for ourselves to kind of
feel better about what happened,
feel better about it, and like learn from it, and we're gonna just try to move on. But then how that was used in the show was really cute. Like, that was all great.
It was really great how they did it in the show. Now we'll diverge slightly because I did read the comic. And I will say that in the comic, it was made a lot more clear as to why he didn't get the job. And the answer to that is nepotism. That it wasn't that he wasn't actually good. There was like two factors going into it. One is that there was like a nepotistic hire. And the other one was when they talked about like, oh, we think he's forming a clique with like, you know, the boss is forming a clique with all of the graduates from this university. Because like he went to the same university as his boss. Okay. This was like a big thing. So they didn't want to so they were like, we can't let his boss get these people that he wants. So they didn't hire this intern as a full-time employee to punish the boss, which is why he took it so personally. And I felt like that wasn't really conveyed particularly well in the show.
Like that part of it, I thought they did a pretty decent job in the show. Like, it was pretty clear that for some reason they didn't want, like, he didn't get the job because of the boss. Not because they were having a relationship, but because it was like they were punishing the boss for never taking the promotions that he kept getting offered. And you're like, that has nothing to do with this kid. Just give the kid a job. Like,
Right.
But it was like they knew that he wanted him. Like he had like given him like his recommendation and had given him, you know, he headed this project and everything like while he was an intern. And so he was a shoo-in. But then because they wanted to punish the boss by not letting him get any of the people that he wanted, they didn't hire him.
I thought it was going to end with him getting offered a job at the J Card company. Because,
that would have actually been a pretty good.
All the people from the J Card company were like, "Hey, that's the kid who came up with our idea.
We really like that guy.
Really
like he's great.
Like, we should, you know."
And then even how they had shown the like really gregarious boss guy from the like the CEO, and how he was like, he liked Instagram and stuff. He was so cute.
Was
like
fun.
I was really like, they got enough screen time. I could see them passing him off to that business. Like it kind of felt like that.
That would have been a cute way to go.
Yeah, but you know, what I feel like what happened in the show was also kind of realistic. Like if you were that boss and then you saw that, you know, this is where the big spoiler comes in for anyone listening. Even though this whole thing, we warned you previously, where you see that like your actions, because his actions of not playing the corporate game and just being good at his job, directly led to someone that you genuinely love and care about being purposefully like damaged, I'd quit too. Like I'd just be like, you know what, this company needed me more than I needed it.
If you're hyper competent, you do go like, I can go start my own business. Like,
I will say this is a mini spoiler. This will be the spoiler I will put in the whatchamacallits. The time codes, so you know where to skip ahead if you want to go read the comic, because it does actually take a different ending than the show. In the comic, he can't actually quit because he has like a 3 or 5 year non-compete clause. So he can't start a new business if he quits. So he agrees to start a new team and finally take that promotion to run a new department, but he says, but you have to rehire this guy that didn't get it because of me. Yeah. So that's essentially like his deal. He's like, fine, I won't quit and I'll continue making you money, but you have to do what I say.
Did he then also put like the assistants or the interns like friends on the team too?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was literally just just the one intern got
Because
hired.
in the show, I was like, oh, the friends are there.
Which I very much expected the other intern to be at the new company.
But the
I
copywriter?
didn't expect the other friend because she had a solid job. Like, I don't know that I would quit my solid job for a startup. Like, right
What
off
was also
the bat.
really fun about the friend is because, she accidentally outs him, if you remember. It was more explicit in the comic where she's like, we were part of the Rainbow Rice Cakes.
But it was just to the boss.
Yeah, it was just to the boss. But then he then, like, in, like, the epilogue of the comic, they, like, meet up at, like, a school reunion, like, at the university, like, for, looking at the cherry blossoms or whatever. And then he's talking and he recalls this and she was like, oh my god, I out. And she was horrified that she had outed me. He's like, no, it's okay. Look how well it turned out for me. Like, don't worry about it.
Because he and the boss, because she outed him, they didn't have to go through all the nonsense that the my assistant guys went through.
Yeah,
where they didn't know what was going
they really
on.
made it succinct.
They were like, I'm gay, you're gay, let's be gay. Okay.
Let's all be gay together.
Also, whenever they first day on the new job and the new business, and you see the logo of the new business and there's rainbow on it, I was like, oh,
they're gonna make gay marketing. Yay! Gay advertisements everywhere. They're gonna get protested by some dummies.
But also, so earlier in the drama, it was they finally show the ad that the intern had the idea of. And so you finally see this entire ad, and there was a moment where it'd be like friends and lovers and whatever, and when it was the lovers part, it was a lesbian couple like on the screen, and I was like, it was really it was really neat. And the whole time I'm like, this is fantastical Korea, because and so this is that links me back to my nitpicky thing, so that we mentioned My Assistant, but now for this show, they made me so concerned when they're being lovey-dovey, like in the office building, in public, everything they were doing. I was like, I am unhinged for you guys right now. Like, I am legitimately concerned.
The one scene where they were sitting there and the boss like was tired and put his head on his shoulder and stuff, and I thought, oh, this is what the plot's gonna be about, how they like get fired for being gay or something, right? And like, it wasn't, but like I had the same thought. I was like, oh no, someone's gonna come in and then he's gonna they're gonna lose their jobs.
Like all a Love and Leashes kind of, right? As far as like they keep on being on, work property doing something, like I just kept being very.
It wasn't like excessive. It was really just like two scenes
like they
of
weren't
them.
having. But like the scene where he goes to the new employee leaves work and he comes off the elevator and the boss like grabs him in a hug from behind, and I'm just like, people could see you.
Yeah, that could just be bros. Like it could just bros could do this. I will say there was one little scene that I think really epitomized sort of the show realizing that, we should probably address this whole PDA thing, which is after they apologize when they're out on the street, and then he like pulls him in for a hug, and there's a guy walking by, and they like quickly like separate, and the guy's like, nah, cute. Like,
yeah,
you two are cute. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But no, I just genuinely like this show a lot.
It was very,
and I think it helped in this one that they were both out to their friends, gay men. Yeah. Like, so there wasn't any of that, like, oh, like, it's weird that a guy likes me when I've always thought I'd end up with a woman. They're like, no, we're gay. We're just, like, I was in the gay club.
I thought that was a good aspect, too, of the thing that caused the problem, the friction between them, is that, the boss has dated this guy that the new employee had a crush on in the past, and
it was his first love.
You can see, how this was a big deal for him. But that comment that the boss makes, that we have a very small community. Many of us have dated each other, and if we stopped being friends with everyone we dated,
we wouldn't have any friends.
Like, he's like, I can stop hanging out with him if it makes you uncomfortable, but like, we are probably going to meet other people that I've
also,
met Chris
he
before.
also works at this company.
it's
we can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a very, again, realistic aspect where, you see that, like, that the community is smaller, so
Mhm.
the pool
If your
is
dating
tighter,
pool is
and,
limited,
like, it's,
you're
and-
gonna,
and
end up dating.
even within
each
that
other.
smaller pool, just like with the larger hetero pool, like, not everybody is nice. Not everybody is somebody you want to hang out with. So if you find somebody that you can hang out with, even after you no longer want to make out, like, you keep hanging out with the people who don't annoy you. Like,
So that's basically it for the new employee. Listen.
Well, how did we all like it?
Listen. We all know how I feel about it.
How many times have you watched it, Natalia?
Only 4. And let me tell you.
Well, when did it come out?
December.
Okay, so 4 times in the matter of these many.
like,
Okay.
once a
So
month.
here's what happened.
Good.
1 episode a week for 7 weeks, from the end of December to the beginning of February. Okay, 1 episode a week. So what I would do was that I would then rewatch the previous episode every week.
Fair.
So
I've been there.
bring me back in. So we ended up, when we finished it, I'd already watched it twice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I need to watch it again. So I watched it a 3rd time because I just liked it, and then I watched it a 4th time to refresh myself for this episode. So
Makes sense.
So will you rewatch it again?
why must you put me on blast? This next guy? You know I will. Because what'll happen is, like, one day I'll be sad, okay? But I won't, and I'll need to watch something that I know will make me happy, but I won't have enough time to watch Cutie Pie. So
There you go.
this one is in the back burner for those I don't have enough time to spend a whole day on it.
So for you, it definitely is a fave, but you are sad that it is not longer.
That could, guys, a full-length show of this dynamic. Come
Give
on.
us more. I mean, if it was a full-length show, they would have had time to give the gay bestie,
The
perhaps,
lesbian, in the
give the
comic, she's got a
lesbian,
girlfriend. She's
like,
got a
give
long-term
her
girlfriend in the
something,
comic.
Give us a little bit more. I'm sure there is a very tragic backstory going on for Miss High School grad intern. There's probably something going on there. I'd love to.
The
Get a
fun
little
lady
more there.
CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually
Come on.
I did want to comment. So the lady CEO is in the show played by Yi Ji Won.
She's
And
always
I
a
was-
good choice.
And I was like, she's in this show?
I know.
Girl.
That's what I
Mike,
thought.
I kept like pearl clutching, and I had to explain to my husband, I was like, no, it's a big deal that she's here. Like, we are honored to have her right now.
Like, yeah, I felt the same way. I was sort of like, oh yeah, it's her. And then about halfway through, I went, why is she in this short little drama? Like, this is okay, good for her.
To me, it's always like she elevates dramas,
She
like
does.
just her presence. And so I was like, girl, she's in this? Like, my goodness, okay.
She's currently on the Heavenly Idol and killing it. She's killing it on that show as, like, a put upon.
She always does
Management
everything she
CEO.
does.
Props to her that she plays whatever she wants. Like, that she can do highbrow, she can do lowbrow, she can do anything. Like, I just wanted to give that a shout out because I was happy.
And I don't think
to see her.
think you can really consider the show, like, lowbrow. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I was just meaning short,
Yeah.
tiny
No, I know
show.
what you mean. Like,
Heavenly Idol is not like
Yeah,
the height
no.
of CGI necessarily. Like,
it's fun.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
just saying budget-wise,
Yes,
comparatively.
for sure.
I feel like it's pretty clear that she picks projects that she
Just
wants
do.
to have fun with.
Mhm.
You
Oh.
know?
One shout out I did want to give for the show was it was very pretty. Like, it was,
Mhm.
you know how Semantic Error is, like, beautiful with lighting and stuff because there's a lot of color, like, they play with color a lot for that show. This was just still a pretty show. It didn't do the color thing that Semantic Error did, but it was still, like, these have pretty shots. Like, for not being necessarily landscape shots or anything, it was still, like, pretty darn good, like, the quality
Yeah.
was pretty
It
good.
was
Quality
very
was
light
nice.
and airy. Like, it
Yeah.
had, like, a
Yeah.
very, like, light feel, like, airy feel to it. Lots of, like, bright, like, not, like, overwhelmingly bright, but, like, very bright
Pretty.
colors.
And there was one particular moment, and it was earlier in the show. It might have even been in the first episode. And my husband didn't quite catch it, so I had to rewind and show him. It was after the boss met the intern, and, like, the intern was, like, leaving the room with the rest of the people, like, the rest of the workers. And it was barely a moment. Everyone else went to black and white, and the intern was in color. It was just his back. And so it was showing that his attention was hyper-focused on the I was like, and it was so short. I'm like, most people are going to miss that, but I was like, whoever did that, yes. Like,
editor.
Yeah.
Killing it. Good job.
I thought they did a really good job with a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I did
It's
watch
noticeable.
an interview with the guy who plays the boss, and they were asking him, like, oh, have you ever watched, like, another, BL show? He's like, yes, I really enjoyed Semantic Error and Roommates of Poondock 304. And also it's like, oh, he's one of us. Oh, he's one of our people. Okay. Like, so, no, I found the casting of this was so good.
Mhm.
And, like, it's a literal crime that I blame homophobia for how short this show is.
Well, I even remember on What We're Watching episodes when you would, like, bring it up as you were watching it the first time, and you'd be like, I'm just so mad that it's not a full-length show.
No,
Right?
like, because it could be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all the elements are there.
And I mean, an office romance, an office romance is so good. I
It's a
love
classic.
an office romance. So give me more. When you
Yeah.
have a good office romance, then it should be long enough to enjoy even longer.
Like, you can go into more about, the other coworkers, and you can do more with, like, his, work rival. I say rival in air quotes because, like, his rival considered the main dude, yeah, he considered the main dude his rival, but the boss didn't consider him a rival whatsoever. Yeah, so Jong Chan didn't consider him a rival.
No, kind
the
of like the
least.
way that, like, a toddler will, like, play fight at his dad or something, and the dad's
Yeah,
like,
and the dad's just like, oh yeah, that's right, Slugger, you
Sure.
got it. Yeah.
But so I really enjoyed it. Like, it's probably I probably will rewatch it sometime because it's so short. Like, it's a movie. Like,
It literally is, but it could be so much more. It hurts me.
it was. I will recommend it to people. I definitely
For
like.
sure.
It's going to be one of my go-to BLs to recommend to somebody because there weren't coming out shenanigans. There wasn't huge bully. Like, it wasn't any of the trauma that can come with being a queer person. It was just an office romance, which
was
was
just an
very,
office
very
It just happened to
nice.
be gay.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, is it a BL, quote unquote? Like, if we talk about the whole genre, like, genre wise, it's just an office romance. It's a gay office romance. Like, that's what it actually is.
You know me, I keep saying BL isn't a genre. Like, people act like it's a genre, but it's literally just a content tag in which
like, it's a content tag BL
this will
thing.
have two people who are male presenting smooching.
Right.
That's what BL means. That's not a genre.
It's kind of like K-drama is not a genre. It's a location tag.
Yeah, exactly. And I will stick by this, that BL is not a genre. Which is, and people will be like, no, BL's a genre. It's like, okay, then explain to me, this and Kin Porsche, is it the same genre?
Yeah, right. Or
Look
the
me in my
fact
face.
that, like, people will get really angry at you if you call, like, what's that, Heartbreaker? Like, if you call that a BL, they'll be like, no, because BL is only Asian, and you're like,
No,
no,
you're crazy.
boys love each other in other countries too.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I'm
not.
like, look me in the face okay, and tell me that Cherry Magic and Not Me are the same genre of show. Just like, you're high, okay? You're high if you're gonna you're lying to yourself and me to my face if you tell me this.
I will say my husband really did enjoy New Employee like a lot. I didn't have him watch On My Assistant. He would probably think it was very silly. But
because it was supposed to be. It was like that was a rom-com heavy on com.
Right.
This was just a rom.
Yep.
And then Director Who Buys Me Dinner, was there romance?
Is there even romance?
Was there rom? Know. There was no rom. There was no com. Well, there technically was rom, I suppose. There was no com. There was like Stockholm syndrome, sort of. But
there was.
But it did have that one actor having a psychotic breakdown, and he was fantastic.
He did a great job with that.
So all in all, my final ratings are definitely, if you have time, you can watch all three. If you only have time for one, New Employee. But as I said, they're so short that
you probably have time for at least two.
For all three. Yeah.
I mean, I got through all three of them this week, so it's not hard. It's like 3 movies. Like you can watch them in a day. You can watch all 3 in one day if you are so inclined. It's definitely. But yeah, I really enjoyed Oh My Assistant just because I think that was the headspace I was in that day. I was like, yes, this is just perfect.
Goofy fun.
So cute. I really liked the actor who played the artist who needed an assistant. Like, I thought he just embodied the role really well. So, but then I also really, really enjoyed New Employee. I love the puppiness of the actor playing the New Employee. Like, this is the kind of relationship where sometimes you would have people call it like the grumpy one and the sunshine, but like he wasn't grumpy, so he was just good at his job, and it was more like the upright one and the puppy dog. Like but he just always had this smile on his face, and he was so cute, and I just wanted great things for him. So I just enjoyed watching him get all the good things. It was lovely.
Well, thank you for joining us while we meander on this flower path of K-Office BLs that we decided to chat about this week. If you like listening to us and you want to listen to us more, you can find all of our episodes wherever podcasts can be found, as well as on our YouTube channel, which you should definitely go subscribe to because we do live streams pretty much every week, and they're a lot of fun and silly, and sometimes silly, mostly silly. Sometimes they're serious, but they're mostly silly. And you can also find time codes and every single episode we've ever done and links to everything that we talk about on our website, certifiednoonas.com. And if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to become part of the Certified Found family, our little family on the web that, keeps us going. We love them. And we do little extras. We have like movie nights, and they get little mini episodes and stuff. And also they get special badges on our free to join Discord server that you should definitely come hang out on. It's super fun. We also get, all the updates and everything of what we're up to there as well. Anyway, we hope that you're having a great week. Maybe go check out some of the great gay content that we're always promoting here on the on the podcast. We enjoy it, and we hope you do too. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. As always, wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian and probably gay entertainment. All right, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.